Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, baseball fans. This is the Power Rankings panel of Barstool Baseball Show on Mondays of balanced representation with expert analysis. Before we get going, a little housekeeping off the top. Boys, we're back on the podcast feed. For those of you tuning in, if you got a notification today, welcome back. We've been figuring out a new programming schedule. We're starting with this Monday show. There's going to be more stuff coming. We're going to talk about that later, not today. For now, welcome back. Thank you for your patience. I promise it will be rewarded, and that starts with the three guys joining me on the show. I'm not joking. I've been talking baseball for so long, and in the short time that we've been rebuilding and getting this thing going, I can tell you the conversation I'm going to have with these three guys today is freaking awesome. So please subscribe to our stuff. Check us out on YouTube. This is the first of many great shows to come. I am joined by Klemmer Castellani, and one half of our editor-in-chief, Hubs. Boys, welcome to the show. It's a big day.
Yeah, this is very exciting. I even call you. Let me know the news. I immediately called you. I was so excited. This is a big deal. I'm happy to be back on the feed. Happy to be on the feed to begin with. Yeah. This is great.
I regret not calling Carl. Apparently, this was a phone call worthy thing.
I think so.
That's on me. That's just I hand up. Got to do that. Carl, maybe I'll call you right after this.
Yeah, I'm always around. Yeah, I mean, Castellani, you know I don't like announcements. Yeah. I don't like to, but that doesn't mean stuff isn't a big deal. And so this is a very big deal because it's part of rebranding with Barstool Baseball. I was just hell-bent on getting as many people involved that love baseball. And I want to spend the first couple months working with you guys, and I wanted to figure out where stuff kind of lines up and what would be a really good product. And I know the challenges of talking about national baseball. I know compared to how easy it can be to talk about your own team and how hard it is to take that passion and connect that with the national audience. And so we're still figuring that out. But like I said, in the short time that we've been doing this and in talking shop, we have such a balanced group of guys here. The diehard Yankees fan, a dude who knows everything about baseball history, one of the most talented professionals in Castellani. I'll go around the room and blow everybody if I have to. I swear to God. But I just feel really good about this group and the stuff that we've talked about. I like this show. So we're going to put together the Power Rankings 1 through 9 this week. We've got some awards. That's going to be a weekly rotating segment. But off the top, I'll just say, I would like to do a little weekend stuff. Clemmer, you were moving around, or who had stuff going on?
Yeah, I was in Syracuse with Frank. We did a live episode of Allow Me to Be Frank, but got to go to a Syracuse Mets game. I had never been there. And the stadium is pretty big. For a AAA team, it's a pretty big stadium. It was built in 97, so I wouldn't say it's the most modern, but it does a really nice job. I felt really comfortable there. It had 2 levels of luxury boxes, which you don't always see at a minor league stadium. Food was pretty good. The hot dog was solid. And just the experience was nice. Great sight lines. They had a fireworks show after the game, which is a good minor league baseball. And then the other great thing is the prospects you see. Ronnie Mauricio, Vientos, and the Mets. And they were playing the Durham Bulls, so I got to see Curtis Mead for the Rays. So, AAA baseball, try to go to a AAA game and not have fun. If you are, you're a douchebag. If you can't have fun at a AAA game, you're a douchebag.
What day of the week did you go?
Friday.
As an alum, not to brag, I believe Thursday is Dollar Beer Day there, and it gets just electric. So you did miss it by one day, where it's just the stadium is just chaos, but I'm sure it was still a great time.
I was going to say, I don't think the beers on Friday are probably too expensive.
I think that the most expensive thing at Syracuse is $5. So you'll be fine no matter what. But Thursday, I think the stadium just they don't even have security. It's just chaos.
Just a free for all. No, it was a great time. Yeah, if you're in the Syracuse area, definitely recommend going. Because like I said, if you can't have fun at AAA, then something's wrong.
Hey, I saw a stat off the top that I wanted to, because we're not going to talk about the Tigers at all in any serious fashion. So I thought it was interesting. The Tigers are 6-2 against non-ALS teams, AL East teams, but one in 11 against the AL East. They haven't won a series against the AL East, but they've won two or three series against everybody else.
Houston. And then we won. I think we won 2 against San Francisco, and then we won 2 or 3 against, or we won 2 out of 3 against Cleveland. So yeah, that's probably right. Orioles and Jays just killed us.
Scheduling. Yeah.
Who do you have
Yeah, I
coming
don't
up
get the
this week,
scheduling.
Chris?
We
Who
go
do the Tigers have?
to Milwaukee to play the Brewers. Like, our schedule is, for the second year in a row, admittedly very tough in April. But I've reached this point. I talked about it in my post game today. I say that every year, and it's one of those things where if you're looking around the schedule trying to find a sucker and you can't find one, you realize, like, maybe we're just really bad as opposed to every team we're playing being super good. But, yeah, I mean, 3 at Baltimore. I think we got 3 in Milwaukee. And then we got the Mets coming up here back at Comerica pretty soon.
Road trip, Clever?
Probably not. I think I just got back from this one, so probably not. But I am excited for that series because that's the series I think Verlander is going to come back. So that is definitely one to keep an eye
I think if the Klemmer takes another road trip, he's getting a divorce. So you gotta stay grounded for a little bit.
That's right. At least for a couple weeks.
We have some other just quick other stuff before we get to our power rankings. I thought the biggest news story, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Obviously, Madison Bumgarner. Manny Machado has not been good. The home run leaders this year are very surprising. But the biggest story from last week is it's not Max Scherzer. I'm sorry, Max Scherzer. It's the Oakland A's going to Las Vegas. Does anybody here have a very passionate response to that? Did anybody get, like, really bothered by it?
I mean, I've been bothered about this for a long time. This is bullshit. It's been bullshit for years. This is the real-life Major League happening in front of us. And Major League Baseball stood by and let it happen. They let an organization tank on purpose so they could move and get more money. This is a complete money grab, and the victims here are Oakland A's fans. And everyone stood by and let it happen. And it's complete bullshit. And the team they have in the field right now is not even have a tough time competing in the AAA. Yeah. This is a team that's going to go 35, 30 wins this season. They're that bad. They're going to lose 125 games. They are an embarrassment to baseball. They're an embarrassment to professional sports. And that owner should really – I hope the A's move at the end of the offseason. I hope they go to Vegas in 2024. Because if they have to be this lame duck team next year, I don't know what's going to happen.
Could that be a thing that they play there again next year?
Yeah, the lease doesn't run out until the end of next year, excuse me.
Wow, that'll be pathetic. Man, that's brutal. Yeah, I guess I'm not passionate necessarily about this, but it feels like a long time coming. And seeing the A's, who have had tremendous success as an organization, like, objectively speaking, they were a successful team, just crumble like this. It's sad. I mean, the idea of one of my favorite teams moving out of Detroit, especially the Tigers, is unfathomable. So yeah, it's disappointing.
I think the common take from people who like aren't diehards is like Oakland didn't deserve this team anymore, which is such bullshit because when they were good in the past, like there's clips that have surfaced on Twitter all week. It's electric. Like it's the Grant Balfour clip. Everyone's going crazy about that one, right? Like if they're good, the people go. But the reason they stopped going is because they tanked the team completely. This owner's a scumbag. Bud Selig, in his grave, he's going to catch us. He's a scumbag. He never really wanted the A's to stay in Oakland. Lacob, who owns the Warriors and has revolutionized the Warriors here, wanted to buy the team. Selig said no, sold to his scumbag friends who have driven the team to the ground and never really wanted to stay there from the start. The guy who owns the team is a Giants fan. Is a diehard Giants fan, and like did what he could to keep the San Francisco Giants in San Francisco when they thought about going to Florida years ago, like 2 decades ago or whatever. So he's a Giants fan at heart. So he's ecstatic that he gets to own a team in Vegas, which is cool. But also that the Giants are now the only Bay Area team. So all of it's just very scummy and very dirty. The track record so far of teams moving to Vegas is pretty good. The Raiders and the Knights, good. So there's no reason to believe that. I'm assuming he's going to spend a little bit more than he has been because he can't spend any less in Vegas. But it's just all dirty and scummy, and I feel for the diehard fans there because they are truly, awesome.
Yeah, Kansas City's, or I shouldn't say they were the Kansas City Athletics. The Athletics have been on the move forever, going back to, I don't know, what is it, Philadelphia? What was the original?
Yeah, it was Philadelphia. They were there for 50-something years. They were in Kansas City from, 55 to 67. And in 68, they went to Oakland. But, I'm old enough to remember when the A's were very good, 88, 89, 90. They won those 3 AL pennants in a row. And the owner spent money at that time. I think his last name was Haas. He spent money. And the A's drew. People came to Oakland games. when the ownership doesn't spend, fans won't come out. And now the stadium is a ruin. It's raw sewage in the clubhouse. There's possums in the wall. It's a fucking dump.
Yeah. No, it reached Tropicana territory pretty fast.
Here's the sad thing for me is the legacy of the Oakland A's is going to be this vacant ballpark and these bad stories. When you go back to the 70s, legendary team. Into the 80s, legendary. Into the 90s, awesome. Transitioned into the 2000s, proud owners of one of the coolest sports stories of all time, of any era, and they didn't even win a championship, and it was made up of nobodies. Very sad because that's the true history. The shit that's going on now is because of John Fisher, and he is a scumbag. And just a little history lesson, his parents started the Gap. His brother David runs it. John used to run a real estate company. This guy, he's nothing. I don't want to be mean to a billionaire. But he's not that particularly gifted or special based on his track record. Ran a real estate company into the ground, even though the real estate company was just there to do business with the Gap. Tough situation. Really tough situation.
I'll say it for you. He started on third base.
But then he also owns a Major League Baseball team. And I mean, like, I'm sitting here talking to you guys. So who am I? Who is he? It's a joke. Okay, let's get to the power rankings. We put together a lineup. We do this every week. The lineup historically was what? The first time it was oldest guys to youngest guys. Then we did youngest guys to oldest guys. This week's lineup is by win percentage of our respective teams. And that would be Klemmer's going first. Hubs would go second with the Yankees. I'll be third with the Cubs.
Yes.
Chris, you'll be dead last with the Tigers.
And keep in mind, the people listening right now, the Mets-Giants game has not been played. So if by the end of this recording, the Mets could have a weaker win percentage. Just don't want anybody to point that out in the chat.
Okay.
And we all took yes runs.
See, now, thank you very much.
Of this game. So you're going to get a
very
live
much.
reaction to that.
I meant to say that off the top.
It hasn't started yet. So, but McGill, Stripling, we're hoping
we
for
went a little long in the intro, but like I said, it was a big day, so I'm introducing the bell. I'm going to take the time down to 2.5 minutes, and I'm watching that thing like a hawk. So we have 2.5 minutes per team. For those of you who are new here, we'll go by batting order position. When you're up, you introduce the team where you think it should be in the rankings, 1 through 9. If we think it's outrageous or egregious, if we think it's worth debate, we'll get into the debate. Otherwise, it's pretty self-explanatory. Klemmer, you're off. I don't know how much time we need to spend on the first team.
Yeah, probably not a ton. Number one is the Rays. The Rays are the best team in baseball. I do want to talk about that home run streak. So they've hit a home run in every single game to start the season, which is incredible. It's never been done before to this length. They had another one today, or when people are hearing this yesterday. But I want to talk about how amazing this team is from a power perspective. So 6 of the 9 starters for the Rays have a slugging percentage of .538 or more coming into Sunday's games. That's wild. So it's not just like one guy is just mashing it. It's the entire team is just hitting home run after home run. I mean, I think the team leader is 6. That's Diaz and Lowe both have 6 home runs. So, like, it's not like one guy has like 12 homers. Like, the whole team is doing it. They not only that, but they have the best, obviously, slugging percentage in the American League. They also have the best ERA in the American League. The pitching's been incredible. I mean, the Rays are just dominating teams. It's not just they're winning. They're just blowing the shit out of teams. It's wild. And I don't know. I mean, Chris and I were talking before the show, and, like, this is like a 35-5, 84 Tigers kind of start. Like, we're just doing everything right. They're just dominating. And I don't know how they don't keep going. I mean, they're just annihilating teams. So
the only thing that I think could derail them at this point is injuries, which they have had with Springs being out. But yeah, you're right. It's like this is in a way, kind of the final form of what the Rays have been wanting to build for the last, really since they became a major league team, which is a team that doesn't necessarily have stars, though I would argue McClanahan and Arozarena are star players, but just from a national standpoint, maybe not stars. But top to bottom, there's no easy out in that lineup. And really, top to bottom, there's no easy pitcher to face in that rotation either. McClanahan is filthy. God, he's good. But, yeah, and of course, we know how good that bullpen is year in and year out. It's a magic start for them.
Yeah, and especially if they get Glasnow back in any capacity here, which they should, You lose Springs, but here's Bradley. Like, they just keep pumping guys out, and their offense is absurd. I think they're going to regress at some point offensively, but I don't think pitching is going to slip up at any point. They're very, very good. They have a tougher schedule in May, admittedly, but still just beating
I
everyone
like you
in their
bringing
path.
up that stat about the home runs. MLB record. Surprising.
surprising.
I thought, I would have thought it would be more, and I think that's a home run. I think that's a record that'll get it broken. Hubs, you are up next.
Okay. The Rays were the clear number one choice. I don't think any of us would have different. From here, it gets crazy. I'm going with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I don't really care what anyone says. They're 16-7. They have a 7-game winning streak. They won every game this week. They didn't play the toughest teams in the world. They're the Pittsburgh Pirates. It doesn't matter what teams they're playing. They're beating everybody in their path. Good for them, man. They lose. They didn't miss a beat after the short Cruz's injury. They didn't miss a beat. They are awesome. They're fun to watch. Their pitching is really, really, really good. Mitch Keller, Velasquez today goes 7 shutout, 10 strikeouts, I believe was the number. He's been awesome. Oviedo's been awesome. Their pitching's been good. Good for them, man. I'm happy for them. I don't know how many times they're going to end up on this list, especially this high. But man, 16-7 and a 7-game winning streak. Good job, man. It's
hard to argue. It's a wonderful story. I mean, I don't want to give away another team that might be on this list, but I think the teams at the top of that division right now, not the teams we expected to be kind of carrying the load early on in the season. They're pitching out of their minds. The hitting's been timely. That's fun. It's a good story. I have a hard time believing that it's going to be sustainable. I just think that they're too young in too many ways, too inexperienced. But it's been definitely a lot of fun to see. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it won't be sustainable. The Pirates aren't a good baseball team. But they are the team of the week. I mean, they've won 7 in a row. Next week it gets tougher. They're gonna have the Dodgers in town. So we'll see how that goes starting on Tuesday for them. I mean, look, the Pirates have won 7 in a row. I never would have expected them to be 16-7. So maybe they do somehow keep this up. I don't see how it's possible. This is a little high for me because it's like, all right, how do we evaluate this? Is it like the best team right now? Is it how we see the teams kind of shaking out a little bit? Is it some kind of mix of both? For me, it's the mix of both. And the Pirates are amazing right now. They're not going to be good in the future, but it's fine. I have no problem numbers. I mean, it's fine, I guess. I mean, they're 16-7.
I'm just basing this off of how they're playing right now to start. That's how I've done it.
It's a little high, but it's okay.
He's been great.
McCutcheon has
He's
an
been
almost
great.
900 OPS.
McCutcheon's never been bad. Like he had a prime where he was amazing, but he's been good his whole career. I'm sorry.
The bell.
I had to. I mean, we're gonna go down a Andrew McCutcheon
rabbit hole.
Comeback player of the year rabbit hole. God, was that a dick move? Should I?
I kind of like it actually.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
Nope. Keep us in line. That was fine.
All right, I'm up third. I'm taking the Brewers here. I had him second. Corbin Burns still got to get him going. But they win with their player development system. They just go find these lumberjacks, and then they teach them how to hit fastballs. These players are not anything anybody across baseball in the system would say, oh, yeah, I remember that guy from the SEC. I remember that guy dominating in JUCO ball or something. These are mostly just big, thick boys. Now, credit to the Brewers because what they do with their position players is they just hone on, plus skills. They really focus on what you're good at, and then they're like, all right, now just go do that. Be very good at that. As opposed to other teams that try and, round out their players. Where I would say the Royals historically very much struggle with player development. The Orioles with their pitching and player development. So it's good to see a mid-market team like Milwaukee continue to have success. These are new and different names, and they've been good for a while now. Milwaukee's been good for a while now. I like talking about the Brewers, and I like their culture.
I think you're a little so last week I think you had them too low. And now you're making up for it a little bit, which I see right through you. I see that happening here. I think it's a little high, but I'm not going to kill myself. Whatever. They swept the Mariners in Seattle. Very impressive.
I know.
Didn't love that they gave up 9 runs in 1 inning to the Red Sox today, including 2 Yoshida homers, who he can't hit anything. And they just didn't play well this week.
I hate taking a team that loses a series, but if you look up and down, like
well.
there's another team in the AL East where I was like, ooh, maybe them. But if I put the Brewers against them, I would take okay.
That's fair.
The Brewers
That's
are
fair.
really
and
good,
I won't argue.
and I think the Brewers, unlike the Pirates, have that ability to maybe stick around all year. I think they're a deeper team than the Pirates are at this point. But my question for the Brewers is: are they going to do another sell off some of the best players again at the deadline?
Yeah.
I mean, they were pretty good last year and they made some moves. So if I'm a Brewers fan, I don't have a ton of confidence in this ownership and this that they're going to put all the chips in the middle of the table and do what it takes to win in September. Or October.
Well, you could trade Hader when you have Devin Williams closing.
Yeah, exactly. Why not have
It'd be
both?
nice to have both.
You don't like Hobie Milner?
It's not that. It's just I know.
Those
moves
I know.
I had some questions about when they're competing for a wild card spot or competing for the division last year. I just didn't like the moves.
Hey, all you youngsters out there, Matt Bush is in that bullpen, and anytime you get a chance, just shout out to Matt Bush. He was the number 1 overall pick in 2004, went to prison, not jail, prison. That means you have to get a conviction. So, anyways, he's back, 37 years old. Castellani, what you got?
I was writing it down because I was going back and forth with a few teams. I almost went Braves a week ago. I think I had them much higher. But I did not. They got swept, man. They got swept by the Astros at home. So I'm going to go with a team that I think it's time we officially put some respect on their name, and that's the Baltimore Orioles. I mean, this is I know they swept my Tigers, and okay, that's a minor accomplishment nowadays. But at the same time, that they got a great core there, and ultimately we're kind of Klemmer, I was with you in thinking that they would take a step back this year, and they still may, but I thought they'd take a massive step because I looked at their rotation and said I think it kind of sucks. I like their young core, but there's a lot of inexperience here. They're now 97 and 86 since the beginning of last season. This is no longer a small sample size like the Pirates getting hot right now. They've played a season plus of good baseball. They have a future MVP candidate in Adley Rutschman, and the pitching's hold up. Tyler Wells has been very good. Kyle Gibson, for some reason, against Detroit looked like Greg Maddux on Saturday. And, you got Grayson Rodriguez on the up and up, pitched 5 scoreless today, and a solid bullpen. I like the culture that they're building there. Such a tough division to win in, and we're going to find out what they're really made of when they start playing those series against the Yankees and the Rays and the Blue Jays. But right now, they're taking care of business. It's a really good ball club.
Yeah, I completely agree, Chris. Talking about taking a step back, and I thought they would.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they've won. They're 14-7. So they've proven me wrong. A lot of times these younger teams will have that big year. They have they went 30 games better than they were the year before, 20 games better than the year before. They'll usually take a little dip back, and then that next year's when they take that big leap. Even the Orioles just said, "Fuck it, we're just going to go right to that next leap now."
Yeah, and we'll see it. We'll see how it goes the rest of the way. They're going to be one of those teams. Obviously, this year it's too late, but whose future will be decided on how willing they are to spend. Because I think that they have a championship caliber core, but they got to supplement those young guys with free agents at some point, and they haven't quite done that yet.
Yeah, I feel better and better about the Yankees taking 2-3 in Baltimore earlier this year by the day. It's I don't really understand how that really happened based off of how they played and whatever. But Mateo is a guy you maybe didn't mention, but he's a weapon. Jorge Mateo has been an absolute weapon for them. Their offense is really fun to watch on any given day. They can put up a number. They are here. They're an 85+ win team to me. Yep.
That was the team I was talking about.
Yeah.
I still think the Brewers would beat them in a 7-game series.
With their pitching, I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's tough to see it matched up.
Be a great matchup. Be a great World Series.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
Very believable.
Right, no, I'm saying pitching matchup wise, you're going to see on a daily basis if that was a postseason matchup, like the World Series. I wouldn't love the Orioles matchup.
But you know what? I would like to see a World Series matchup like that, and then find out that the ratings were just as good as any World Series we've seen in a long time. That would make. You know what, Klemmer? Can it, pal? It would just make it be a good fucking.
It would
story,
be nice. It's not gonna. That would be a disaster. I think.
Blow me. You're up. Hey.
Disaster.
Sorry.
Fucking. I'm thinking. I'm digging my.
That was an abuse of the bell.
You know,
You're not
I'm
even
just
using
doing
it
it to
for time
myself now
You're
because I'm
just-
gonna get fucking shit on by Klemmer here. He's gonna start reeling off TV ratings. That's better. All right, Klemmer, you're up. Fifth
Before I do
spot.
my pick here, I just got a text from Frank the Tank. Said, "Told you Mets would lose. ESPN curse never ends." So what's the score? Did anything happen?
All right, guys, it's bottom one. We have no.
No.
Wait, did I take? I have a fucking.
We have runs as a man on.
No, I took runs.
You
I
hit no
forgot.
runs?
I took runs.
Okay, well, we got a man. There was a double play. We didn't first second nobody
Frank
out.
sent that text
Double play.
presumably when there was first and second.
Yes. Sorry, Matt. Okay, my pick is going to be, as much as I hate to do it, I feel like I did this last week, is the Braves. Now, I know they've just got swept. They've lost 4 in a row, in fact. But, I mean, it's a little recency bias. At the end of the day, they still are, well, depending on this game, I guess.
Yeah, we did. I was ahead of you guys.
Yeah, we won.
I'm on a delay.
That's good and
Oh,
bad.
boy,
I guess.
Jock.
Jock, let's go.
So maybe the Braves will still be in first place with people hearing this, based on that.
Yeah.
But they're 14-8. Like I said, they lost 4 in a row, but they're a very good team. This is where it gets back to that mix I'm talking about, where it's like the Pirates who are just red hot right now, but maybe you don't have that sustainability. The Braves 14-8, and they're really good. They're better than I wish they were. So I think the Braves are pretty clear number 5. In fact, I had them even higher than that. But.
Really?
I think that's fair. I think they have the best roster. Personally, I think they have the deepest and best roster across baseball. I think there's teams that have better star power. I think the Astros' middle of the lineup is the best. I think the Padres 1-4 is better. But the Braves, when you consider all their starting pitching depth, it's just so hard to imagine them losing 5-7 games. They'll be a favor. They're able to run out a favorable pitching matchup every single time.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? We always talk about San Diego, a team that I would assume is not going to make these power rankings. They were not close on mine. But when you look at that top 5, it's like I'm waiting for all of them to be good at the same time. Like they're dangerous on paper, but I feel like Xander's been red hot to start the season, but Soto kind of hasn't been Soto, and it's like we'll see if Tatis comes along like they did in the postseason last year when they got hot. But yeah, it feels like a team like the Braves, maybe not as many stars, but though Acuna is a star, but
I'm sorry, one final note about the Braves real quick. They play the Marlins and then the Mets next week. So that could be a real kind of test for them where the Marlins have been frisky this year. And then the Mets, obviously, and that's going to be in Citi Field. So that could be an interesting series.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I just gave the Marlins out as a long shot World Series pick to my uncle in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know
so
what,
you
though?
lost
He said long shot World Series pick. They do have pitching that can, Listen, I said long. I know you're sitting there going, it's the Yankees year, it's the Yankees year. Someone brought up the Padres. I hope we don't talk about the Padres again, but since we brought him up, Machado is hitting 221, 253, 291. He's got a minus 0.6 WAR on Baseball Reference, a 24% strikeout rate versus like a 4.5 walk rate, and he's got his worst line drive, weak contact of his. He's basically the worst version of himself. So,
He'll be all right.
A little inside baseball here. I'm in hot water with my girlfriend because she wanted to take the Pirates to make the playoffs at the beginning of the year, just as like a little bet there, or like even like higher than that. And I laughed in her face and I said, like, just don't waste your money. And they're 16-7. So
did she give you money and you were like, yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll bet this, and then you went you spent it
No,
at
she's bet. She
a
bet
bodega?
She'll bet here and there. She was just like, I like the Pirates. Like, I think one of these teams is going to get here. She picked the Pirates, and I was like, don't do that. And
Well,
so that's bad.
I don't know, pick 6 then. Then make it up to me with a good 6 pick here. Or her, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, I'm up. I had this team way higher. I can't believe they're still here. And we were universally in on them last week as the bottom of the team. The Texas Rangers are my pick here. I had them at 3. Now, didn't play a tough schedule here. Didn't lose this week. I'm believing in the Texas Rangers here. I'm starting to get into them. DeGrom came back today, was very good. I'm in on the Texas Rangers. This offense and all this, the Yankees got them coming up here. Not feeling great about that matchup. Like this is a good lineup that I will never feel good facing against. And their pitching is doing their thing. Like the Texas Rangers here, what are they at? 14-7, I believe. Yeah, I think they should be higher, but I'm not letting them slip anymore. So
the Rangers have the Reds next week. So I think it's just going to keep on going on. And the Rangers are good. I mean, they completely rebuilt that pitching staff like we talked about last week. You got Bruce Bochy, and they can hit. I mean, like everything Hub said. I mean, I didn't have him as high as Hub did, but I had him right about here. That 6, 7, 8 range. The Rangers are legit. I don't think they can win the division. You got the Astros there, but they're really good.
Yeah.
Sorry, they did lose one game. I said they were undefeated.
Oh,
They
that's
lost
right.
one
They
game
did. I
to the
forgot
A's
about that.
somehow,
But they swept the
other than
Royals.
that, they were good.
Right. Yeah.
And they responded with 18
no,
to 3 win on
Major
Saturday,
League Baseball's in such a better position with Bruce Bochy in a dugout.
He's been good everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
I was worried
winner.
about that one though. We talked about it a little bit last week of like, is this Lewis a 2.0? And it's like, no, he's still Boch. Like he's got the guys playing hard for him. Yeah.
Nobody's better at handling a bullpen than Bruce Bochy. He's the all-time. Got Joe Torre with the Yankees, their run, and Bruce Bochy, and maybe La Russa with the A's. Those are the 3 best bullpen managers I've ever seen.
Yeah. I would argue with Joe Torre, as brilliant as he was, when you had those guys in the back end of your pen, it was pretty easy to make you look. It was like Dusty last year, just going to Abreu and Montero and Presley back to back to back.
Do they take a flyer on Bumgarner?
It makes so much sense, doesn't it? It would make sense from a narrative standpoint with him and Boch back together. I don't think so. But why though?
No. They don't need him.
He is right now what Dallas Keuchel was at this point last year.
He's cooked.
Yeah, I think he's demanding. I shouldn't say demanding, but I think it's a demanding presence around the clubhouse. You've got good stuff going. I know Bochy has that connection with him, but it wouldn't be on that level that Bochy has that connection with him. He'd be coming in. He's damaged goods. I mean, if he wants to keep it going, and I think he would have to go do AAA for a little bit and get his stuff going.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine just someone wanting to go throw Madison Bumgarner into the rotation right now if your team is in a mix and you're feeling good. If it was later in the year and he had put together a couple of good starts and you had something to work off of, but right now, I mean, it's an abomination. I'm up. There's a team I want to take, but I can't. I want to take them very badly. I can't do it because I have to take the Mets here. There's no denying it. They're 8-2 over their last 10. I personally had them a little bit higher on the list. If they come out and they win again tonight, Pete Alonso, there's rumors circulating in the StatCast corners of the universe that Pete Alonso is underperforming if you look at his batted ball data. Based on launch angle and expected, these are where my number, I can do a lot of numbers. I can't do expected. It's expected slugging neutralized for, north of the Mason-Dixon line when air pressure's at a certain level. So, but he's fucking killing it. And shout out to you, Castellani, because you had that tweet in 2017 when you were watching him at the College World Series. You were like, this Peter Alonso fella. What did you say?
I don't know if I think it was 2016 actually, because I said this. I don't know if anyone's watching the College World Series, but this Peter Alonso kid from Florida, parentheses, 2nd round pick for the Mets. Looks like he's gonna be a star. And now every time that's the thing about the internet is there's 99 wrong takes that I probably had before that and 99 after that, but I brag about that one every time he does anything. He's a generational stud for the Metsmen. Yeah. Oh, quickly,
Klemmer, where are the holes? Where are the holes?
The holes with the Mets or the holes with Alonso?
I was going to say with the Mets, but then I realized I just cut off Chris. We're remote, guys. We're doing the best we can. I apologize.
Yeah, I mean, the holes with the Mets are plentiful. We have a starting rotation that's kind of in tatters right now. Luckily, we had a huge start from Lucchesi.
That was amazing.
That
Scherf was working. Yeah.
If Joey Lucchesi can pitch effectively, I know you're shaking your head, Hubs, but he did pitch 7 shutout innings.
Oh, I wasn't denying it. It was almost like that was some start, kind of show.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if he can be a guy who has a 3.8 ERA at the end of the year, that is huge for us because Carrasco is, who knows? Yeah. He says he's hurt. I don't know what the hell's going on with him. Obviously Verlander and Scherzer could break down any time. Senga's been our only and McGill, honestly, have been our guys. We've been riding us to this record. I don't have the Mets as high as the Braves because the Mets have these problems right now the Braves don't have, even though they have the same record. So, but I do like the Mets here a lot at this pick. So no problem at all with that. I think the Mets hopefully they have the Nationals coming up on Tuesday through Thursday, and then the Braves come to town. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I had them 5th on mine, so a little higher than this. Pete would be my MVP pick right now if I had a vote. I don't have a vote. But he would be my MVP. He just looks like a different person. I don't know what it is. And it's weird, too. I guess you can't take too much about the World Baseball Classic, but he just didn't look good at all in the World Baseball Classic. And he just looks tremendous right now. Good for him. And yeah, I have no problem with them here. I would say the one thing about Senga, his numbers on pitches that aren't the ghost forkball are very bad. So you have to throw more than that, just that pitch. And they're not very good when he doesn't throw that pitch. But that pitch has been very effective and almost unhit. Like top 5 best pitches in baseball at the very moment to start the year, I would say is that pitch. But yeah, everything else is whatever. But the Mets have been playing well and they're going to win the games. Big weekend against the Braves for sure.
You know, the other guy that gets overlooked, Brandon
Pick.
Nimmo. Anyway, okay, my 8th pick. My 8th pick. Hey, these two teams just played, so it's going back and forth between the two of them. But considering they won the series, I believe, I'm going with the Yankees in the.
No, Blue Jays
Did the Blue
won.
Jays win 2 out of 3 in that?
Blue Jays won.
They have the same record.
Yes.
I'm still going Yankees, just because and people will be mad about that. Maybe it doesn't make a ton of sense. It's just I have faith that the Yankees at some point into the season will get more healthy. They'll never be fully healthy, obviously. Whereas with the Blue Jays, I still have my doubts about their starting pitching and their pitching as a whole. I don't think their middle relief is very good either. Wonderful offense. It's an experienced team at this point. They've been in the playoffs multiple times, if you include the COVID year. I think there's a potential for them to go higher, but there's something I felt this way about them last year that's frustratingly good about them, where you feel like there's another gear that they just haven't found. It's a 90-win team that you feel like could easily be a 100-win team with a few changes. So solid group. Gausman was brilliant today. But I got them I'm sorry. I fucked up there. I started talking about the Blue Jays for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, I be honest, I'm on a little bit of a ride here, Chris. I'm enjoying it. Please, though,
I'm sorry.
I don't know where we are.
I'm sorry. Here's what happened to the people out there. I was looking at my list, and I had Blue Jays at 8, so I kept going on about Blue Jays as I knew it was picking the Yankees. They're both really good. Okay, Volpe looks great.
All right, well, put them 8-9,
Right.
but just what do you want to do with that?
It is 8-9. Fucking put Yankees there. So I fucked that up so hard, man.
So is it Yankees 8, Blue Jays 9?
That's my list. Yes.
I'm fine with that too.
Am I responsible for this because I rang the bell on you? Is this because I fucking rang the bell?
No, it's because I was looking at my stupid notes and I'm a moron.
All right, I'll get rid of the bell.
No. I mean, if there's anybody who needs the bell, it's probably me. But no, Yankees. I have at 8. They have the best pitcher in baseball right now. I have faith that they're gonna get more healthy, and ultimately, I still have my question marks about the Blue Jays, despite the fact that Gausman was brilliant today. That was the point I was trying to make.
Yeah, no bias here from me. I'm going to say I had the Blue Jays ahead of the Yankees here by a few spots, too. I had the Blue Jays higher. I had the Blue Jays up to 6, but this makes sense, 8-9. They are pretty even teams at the moment, I feel like, despite what you just watched here. The Blue Jays pitching impressed me this week because Fatso Manoah showed up. Gausman shoved today. We made him look like Roy Halladay, like prime Roy Halladay. Even Kikuchi looked good. Our offense was terrible this weekend. The Yankees' offense was absolutely brutal. Like, they barely squeaked out that game on Saturday. Good moment for Volpe. But overall, the offense has been very pedestrian over the last 10 games or so. And the Blue Jays' offense has been very good. And their pitching, for the most part, hasn't. But they showed up this weekend. So you have to tip your cap and be like, hey, we'll see you next time around. And hopefully it goes a different way. But I had the Blue Jays higher, but I'm not going to argue it. 8-9 works for them. I feel like those teams should belong at 8-9.
Yeah, these teams are really close. I had the Yankees higher just because I think they're a better team on paper than the Blue Jays are. If you just look at who, if you put a gun in my head, who has a better chance of winning the division or going to the World Series, and it's the Yankees. Now, I say that with a little bit of a joke because the Yankees don't go to the World Series because every year the Yankees go to the playoffs and get knocked out in the ALDS or ALCS. It's a fun tradition I like to have. I like to enjoy. I know how you enjoy it as well.
Garrett Cole is a 0.79 ERA. That's pretty good. I enjoy that. Keep that going. He didn't have his best stuff on Saturday. He pitched. He did his job. He managed it, escaped it. Good for him. Moving on. He's got to start against Texas coming up. But he's just fun to watch right now. Just do his thing and just be in a groove. And his fastball's, I think, second best pitch in baseball statistically at the moment.
He's the best pitcher in baseball right now.
Good to see that. I mean, Shohei's ridiculous,
His
but
stuff is
they're both. I'd take Cole at the end of the day, but they're
right now is the best
He
pitcher
is,
in baseball. Right now, at this moment.
No, I'm with you. I think he's benefited from the pitch clock too. It seems like with the pace the game's moving at, he just.
I think he's just. I think also the pitch clock, but also He seems just be happy to be a dad, which is
that's
slept on. Like
How about that?
he just his kid just shows up in full uniform at these games. It's just cool. It's good for him, man. I'm happy.
Guy, like he seems like a good guy.
I think people want to make him out to be this bad dude. I think he's a very goofy dude off the field.
Yes.
When he's not pitching, when he's not when he has days off, I think he's a generally enjoyable person. I think he was wound up, maybe coming here, getting all that money and the pressure. But I think he's
Dude, he couldn't answer what his favorite movie was walking into Yankee Stadium the other day. You saw that clip? That's bad.
No, if anything, Carl.
Dude, he stood in the hallway for and that was bad stuff. So if you know what I'm talking about, if you don't, we'll put that clip out. It's bad.
If anything, Carl,
bad.
It's relatable. Who can think of their favorite movie? You asked me my favorite movie.
The Dark Knight.
Easy.
I would struggle.
Shawshank.
I'd say old school, but there would be like 5 ones.
It never ends.
It's not an easy answer. I like
No, you know what?
You've
earned my
Godfather.
You've earned my respect. Yankees are 9 on this list. Blue Jays 8. Yankees 9. Did I get that right?
No,
I
I
think
think we ended up Yankees 8.
Oh
Blue
my
Jays
god,
9.
I fucked this up.
Okay. Whatever. Hey, it's early in
Yeah.
the season. I was with you on that with Manoah coming back. It was good to see him. I should
He
say.
has great
Not
numbers
personally.
against us. He locks in against us.
It's just good to see it.
Yep.
I would not want to see him continue to go down a bad path. I want to see the Blue Jays competitive. It's better for baseball. All right, so just to round that out, so I have this clear, we have the Rays first, the Pirates second, Brewers 3, Orioles 4, Braves 5, Rangers 6, Mets 7, Yankees 8, Blue Jays 9.
Yep.
Okay. We have some awards. Before we get to the awards, I'm going to read some stuff off just because there's people listening to this be like, I can't believe they haven't talked about this yet. So I'm going to couple things. Astros very well could be number 3 on this list next week. So just relax. I know they're 5-1 this week. The AL Central is completely absent. So is the NL West. Not just from this list, but basically from discussion, guys. That's a bad thing for baseball. But again, this is just power rankings early in the season. This can change. Third thing, Shane McClanahan set an MLB record with a 65% whiff rate on 49 total swings. That means 32 swings and misses on 49 total swings. That's the highest whiff percentage in a single start in StatCast history.
Wow.
Shohei Ohtani has a 1.84 ERA over his last 185 innings, which I think is measured from a calendar year. George Kirby from Seattle has the least amount of walks to get to 150 career strikeouts since 1901. Only 23 walks to get to 150 strikeouts. And a lot of people listening to this are like, George who? George Kirby in
filthy.
Seattle. And like I said, the Astros were 5-1 this week. Jordan Alvarez is a monster, even if his strikeout rate is hovering around 30%. That should go down. The Astros should continue to go up. Yeah. Those were the big stories and headlines as we get into the awards. I guess, Castellani, you take our first award. You have the AL Pitcher of the Week.
Now, I wonder if, in terms of my following, if there's people who listen to this show and expect me to talk about the Tigers more. And my response to that is, like, what have they done to earn any national attention? So I don't I avoid homerism. With that said, there is kind of only one pick here for AL Pitcher of the Week, and it is Eduardo Rodriguez for the Tigers. He went 8 scoreless frames during the week against Cleveland, picked up the win. Today, 7 scoreless innings, had a perfect game going through 6 2/3. And I'm usually the last guy to be on board, like a no-hitter, a perfect game train. Like, I always wait till the 8th inning and just kind of, see it out. But during the 4th or 5th, I legitimately thought he had a chance. Ball's moving better than it ever has. He seems to be in a good place mentally. That's now they ended up losing the fucking game, so I feel bad, but of course they did. But a wonderful outing, and if this happens and he continues to pitch like this, he could end up becoming a guy who was despised last year because of some of the nonsense to someone who ultimately ends up yielding a very strong trade return because he can opt out after this year. If not, he's got 3 more years after this. He's pitching great. The team's not going anywhere, but he's been spectacular these last 2 starts. He's AL Pitcher of the Week.
I like the pick a lot. And we'll stay on pitchers. I'll do NL Pitcher of the Week. We are homers. We are biased.
It's the right pick, though.
I know. You had the right pick. I have the right pick. I was in between 3 guys. And I will say, Zach Gallen has a 21-inning scoreless streak. He went 7 innings, 2 hits, like 10 strikeouts or something. He's masterful. always in and around the strike zone. Love watching Zach Gallen pitch. Also, shout out Clayton Kershaw. He was going for his 200th win. He went 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 9 strikeouts, no walks. He's I believe, has the highest win percentage of any pitcher to get to 200 wins at 694.
Showed some emotion, too, in that start, which you don't see a lot from him, especially in regular season starts. It meant a lot to him. He shoved.
Cool, too, in like a start to get to 200.
And he won
big,
again today.
meaningful milestone.
He's got 201 wins now.
No one has tried to steal a base on him this year, by the way.
Oh.
Really?
Slide step. Yeah, look at him pit. His slide step is variation. Okay, I'm burying the lead. It's Drew Smyly. Took a perfect game into the 8th. I was at the game. I went to the game alone. I had a whole row to myself alone. I crushed a foot-long Polish. It was amazing. And then the 5th inning, someone's like, man, I can't believe Drew Smyly's perfect. I'm like, wait a second. Because the game's moving so quickly now. You know, it's not atypical. I'm like, wait a second, no one's been on base. That's right. Bad on me. I wasn't keeping score.
Oh.
My point is this. Hey, listen. Coming from man on the street,
All right.
Don't hurt my feelings like this because you know
You're my scorebook guy, though. You're my guy. You have the most beautiful scorebooks. Like he's shown pictures of like it's almost like art when you do it, Carl.
Thank you. I bring a pencil case with multiple colors and stuff,
awesome.
and I've been doing it forever. I'm like a nerd like that. I just wanted to go and sit. It's a long story, anyway. So. You go to this game alone, try to relax, get some silence. Drew Smyly, 7 2/3, 11 hits. 11 strikeouts. Yeah. The one hit was the tapper he should have fielded. He had his hand on the ball, and Peralta was 45 feet down the baseline, and Yan Gomes truck sticked him. It was a great moment for the internet. I'm not joking. I'm going way longer than the allotted minute. I'm on the concourse. And I'm holding the phone, videoing like everything, and you just hear me in the back, no! I'm just screaming at the top of my lungs, and there's like a field trip in front of me. These kids just turn around staring at me. It's an uncomfortable situation, and I wasn't doing that for content. I was filming the moment, just like it wasn't me on camera trying to be silly. I was just in the moment. Anyway,
You don't want an ending like that. That's just not how you end the perfect game.
No.
No, dude, hit a base knock.
It's so bad.
What?
Hey, by the way, there are 23 or 26 instances in baseball history of pitchers getting to the 27th out and losing their perfect game. And a lot of instances are fucking veteran pinch hitters and old Hall of Fame managers being like, fuck it, get that veteran pinch hitter up there. Anyways, I'll keep going. Billy Pierce.
What an incredible story Drew Smyly is as well. I mean, he was, he's in the David Price deal after pitching in Detroit. He was out of the league, did not pitch in the majors for, I think, 2 or 3 years. Atlanta took a flyer out on him a few years ago. Now he's got a nice extension with the Cubs, so good for him, man.
Shut up. I took way too long on those awards. I apologize, but we're still getting through this. So we have Drew Smyly from the NL. We have Eduardo Rodriguez from the AL. Hubs will go to you for the American League Player of the Year.
Player of the Week. Yep. Not easy. Looking around here. I'm going with the best team in the American League at the current moment. Best team in baseball. Harold Ramirez had 4 multi-hit games this week. 2 homers as well. Homer today. The one game he didn't have a multi-hit game in. I'm just mad at Carl here and your management. You traded him away in 2022 for a man named Esteban Quiroz, who is a journeyman minor leaguer who has never sniffed the big leagues. And you just gave this guy to the Rays. They put him through their factory. And now he's a type of player that has 4 multi-hit games in 1 week, an OPS over 1,000, I believe. And I don't care for that much because I have to deal with the Rays on a daily basis. And, that's my player of the week. And I don't like that. But he is very good.
Just in defense of Eduardo or Esteban Quiroz.
Yep.
Esteban Quiroz. I have no defense of that. I don't know why anybody does business with the Rays.
I know.
Like, we used to say that about the Oakland Athletics, but I feel like the A's started getting fleeced in the mid-2000s, or like around 2015,
Yeah, the Donaldson
16.
deal wasn't good. Yeah.
Neither was the Jeff Samardzija one. Anyways. The Rays are that team now. Anybody who does a trade or signs
Austin
a player
Meadows.
that leaves the Rays.
Austin Meadows for Isaac Paredes. Yeah, rough.
I don't even like giving them cash considerations.
Yeah.
When they give away cap, like they get a guy and they give away cap, I assume like the economy goes to shit. Like that's how much. I don't like anything with them. They have a time machine. They know what that player. They know when he's going to explode and die, and I just don't do it.
I think it's different now, but last year I saw a statistic where the Rays had 50 front office analytic people, and the next closest team was the Dodgers at like 30.
Yeah. Wow.
And then the next team after that was like the Yankees and the Mets and the Cubs and stuff in like the low 20s.
Is there a more bizarre organization in all of professional sports? Like, I mean that as a compliment, but it's just I can't think of any that that plays in that kind of market with that little fanfare, with that bad of a ballpark, and yet is continually just a pest to deal with every single year.
But they're never great. They're always competitive, but never amazing. I know they've been to two
Yeah,
World
I would
Series.
say 08 was a pretty great team. But yeah, no, you're right. They're always in that like 88 to 95 win range.
Right. Maybe this year's different.
This year could
this
be
team
different,
could win 100
yeah.
games. I mean,
Fair point.
All it takes is one championship to completely turn a culture, you know? Damn, what a week for Harold and a great Harold. Harry?
Hey, Ram?
Harry?
Maybe. Don't know. Don't care to know. Just want to stop doing this.
Harry. Klemmer, who you got?
yeah. So I'm going to take a player on a team we haven't talked a ton about. There's two teams really that are not on our top 9 list that will be there very soon: the Astros and the Dodgers. So my pick for player of the week is Max Muncy.
Gotta be.
He had an amazing week. Went 7 for 18. It's a 389 clip. He had 5 home runs, only 7 RBIs, which is always strange, but 9 walks. So he had an on-base percentage last week of almost 600. On-base percentage of nearly 600. He has 11 home runs. It's the most in baseball, unless Pete Alonso hits some now, but I don't know. The Mets aren't doing very well, which is sad. But Max Muncy is one of those guys I think gets kind of lost in the shuffle. You know, Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts and Clayton Kershaw, and like Max Muncy's had 3 30 home run seasons already. This would be 4 if he can keep it up. Like, he's a pretty good player. He's a big reason why the Dodgers have had this continued success, and I think he kind of flies under the radar. He is 32. He's not a guy that's going to make the Hall of Fame. He just not going to play long enough. But he's a very good player that I think should get some more respect around. Like, maybe this is the year he kind of breaks out.
I think he was just so bad last year. Like, he just had a train wreck of a season. He hit below 200, OPS barely above 700. That's why. But this is a huge resurgence here.
Yeah.
For him, so,
No,
yeah.
well, that's the thing. His batted ball data always shows that he's going to be a guy who looks like he's about to turn it around because he draws a ton of walks. He sees the ball really well. And talk about another team that just the Dodgers do with utility guys what the Rays do with pitchers, where it's like it doesn't matter where you were drafted, doesn't matter what team you came from. I mean, it's famous now. Muncy was basically a nothing in Oakland. And now you got him. They've moved him around the diamond. You have James Outman, who you probably could have gone with as well, who's just tearing the cover off the ball. That's what they do, man. I mean, yeah, we gravitate to the Freddie Freemans and the Mookie Bettses of the world, but those were deals that guys they got because they're willing to spend a lot of money. It's the guys who have made this a championship caliber team year in and year out are the guys that they've developed or fixed. Muncy being a prime example.
Yeah, and I give Max Muncy a lot of credit for being able to get competent enough to go play second base.
Yeah.
Because that's where the at-bats were in the lineup for that Dodgers team. And that's such a baseball guy move to be like, all right, I can go carve out 550 there. Now, not to say he's a great hands, great baseball player, but to do it at the highest level. Yeah, guy's a phenomenal baseball player. The bounce-back story is great. I don't know if was he hurt last year? Is that a mechanical thing?
I mean, sometimes these power hitters get unlucky or just get kind of like you look at some of the great power hitters every once in a while, like real sluggers. They'll have that year where they just strike out too much. They have a hard time putting the bat in the ball.
Adam Dunn was it 2011?
Yeah. It just happens with these guys once in a while. I don't know if that's what happened with him or not, but he's obviously delivering right now, and his batting eye is sensational right now.
Yeah.
And he crushes. This would be a good thing to discuss at some point. I'm sure there is. Is there a player that crushes one team currently more than Max Muncy crushes the Giants? I knew you were going to go Vladdy. I saw your eyes light up. That is a good pick.
Yeah.
That is
Freddie Freeman against my Mets. The Heat just annihilate.
The luster's worn off a little bit because he's out of division, though. Those are the worst ones. Like, for us, like, Tim Anderson's like that in the Central for the Tigers, which is like, especially batting leadoff, it feels like he bats every inning. Yeah.
Boys, this is the Power Rankings panel. This is a Monday Barstool baseball show. We will be back next Monday with more Power Rankings and more around the league balanced conversation with expert analysis. And we will be back later down the road with a headline show, some college baseball stuff. We're just starting with the Monday show. I like this. This is a good panel, good vibes. Just to recap, we have the Rays first, Pirates second, Brewers third, Orioles fourth, Braves fifth, Texas Rangers sixth, Mets seventh, Yankees eighth, Blue Jays ninth. Eduardo Rodriguez and Drew Smiley are pitchers of the week. Harry Ramirez and Max Muncy are hitters of the week. You guys have a great week.
I'm sure the internet won't have any problems with any of those picks. They're going to agree with us completely.
And they'll be diplomatic about it, as always. Yeah. Right.
I'm looking for a couple like bombs here for social media. Like, yeah, we have a couple in here that are gonna really.
I bet we're gonna get a lot of Astros pushback. I feel like just not having them on there because of what they did. But and they're gonna get there. They're still a top 3 team in baseball. But to sweep the Braves and not be on there, I feel like might bother some people. But they're only 12 points.
And we got to get that.
Two quick stats to close us out. Two quick stats.
Yeah.
One, Garrett Cole is not allowed a home run this year after being the league leader last year. And the second stat, we are 1-0 as a group in betting.
That's right.
In the first move. So,
at my expense. You know, that's fine.
Okay, someone tell the Chicklets guys to retweet this. I want this to go to Canada. I want them to know we think the Yankees are better. We'll see you guys next week.